It's Sustaina Claus, the sustainable Santa Claus, visiting Nepal because I too love Nepal for all the good reasons that have been announced through these few hours preceding this talk. My talk is also serious in spite of this. My talk is about how we move from this overpopulation, the garbage, all these problems, to solutions. Because, you know, there's a lot of talk about promotion. But the challenge is we need to preserve this. My name is Philip McMaster. I'm from the World Sustainability Project. And the World Sustainability Project is headquartered in Hong Kong. I live in China, Beijing, China. And this is from last year at Everest Base Camp. What everyone's talking about today is story. The bloggers are talking about story. The filmmakers are talking about story. The people who, like Adrian just said, about the problems. This is also story. It's not unique to Nepal, but it's very incumbent on you to take this story to heart and protect Nepal. It's a race for Nepal, a race for humanity to solve the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. This is why earlier I was saying this is the selfie 3. Maybe we'll do that later. We talk about 5 million people coming. Exactly what I was just talking about. To accommodate 5 million people with the amount of problems and pollution that that's producing now is unsustainable. You can't do it. What I see on the ground from being in Western Nepal, I made that little film. Did you like it? The Karnali, the singers at Lake Rara? Was that beautiful? Yes. Was that Nepal? Yes. Right here. That was Nepal. Beautiful, clean, pristine, cultural. That's what you're trying to preserve. You don't want McDonald's and Coca-Cola signs messing that up. Think about that. The problems, it's tourism crisis management, the money mined. I came to Nepal 35 more years ago. It wasn't the same place. Now I travel and I see so many people talking about money. I'll do something if you give me money. The problems, you know what they are. What I'm going to talk about is one solution. It's really one solution. ISR. Individual social responsibility. It's not CSR. The aircraft on top of Everest, that's sort of the marketing CSR. It's not real. We need to differentiate. Bhutan was mentioned. I think Bhutan has an okay model, but it's not the model for Nepal. You can't do it here. And then finally, an action plan. Change Wednesday, you'll learn about that in a second, and the race to SDG. Okay, who's going to do this? Well, I'm trying my best. I've been doing it for quite a few years. How the blockchain saved the world, by solving the 17+1 Sustainable Development Goals. You can see here a picture above. That's in Marrakesh, Morocco during COP22, and that's us with this banner, pointing out that this is at least a guideline. It's certainly not perfect. The United Nations is not really doing its job, but we need to do our job, and we can use this as a guideline. Oops, sorry. Okay, when I first came back to Nepal this time, it was at the GAMCE, and we had a great conversation, and lots of things have happened since. Traveling all through Western Nepal, I didn't do Everest this year for many of the reasons that we just talked about. Everest has become too crowded, and it's not going in the right direction, even though it's the icon. So my travels, and you see even some government people here in Western Nepal, in Karnali, we're addressing these SDGs. This is a very clear map. It's not perfect, but it's a map. We can agree on the fact that it exists. The wealth gap, education, gender equality, sustainable business, all of these things can be addressed, and we are going to address them. And you probably know this character. She was here a little earlier, and actually David Hansen is our company, our organization's in Nepal, in Hong Kong as well, and there's LCP, the Low Carbon Panda, and Sophia. So you can see that there's an emerging group of new technology celebrities wanting to give back to the world, and we're developing, amongst many people, ways that they can do that. So these traditional ways of funding NGOs and projects and sustainable projects, you know, they've always begged for money from the oil companies and the airlines. They've always begged for money. We're finished. We're finished begging. We're not begging anymore. We have to save this planet because I live on this planet too. And so do you and your children. And it's absolutely imperative that we get out of this money mind. Of course we have to make money, we got to pay rent. We're in a system now, but we've got to break out of this system before 2030. I keep pointing in the wrong direction. Why? Has anybody ever seen these packets? I spent most of my day walking down to Rara Lake picking up these packets. The local population was not picking up, they were dropping them. I'll tell you a quick story. As I was picking up garbage, some boys that were walking along with me started to see it, and they started to pick up some garbage too, which I thought was great. And then an older gentleman came along. He started picking up a couple of Coke bottles and some packages and so on. And I thought, wow, that's great. He threw them as far as he could into the forest, into the woods. Beautiful forest, beautiful, pristine forest. Ouch. And we see the other thing. I don't have to go over this with you. We've already had a fantastic presentation which outlined every one of these points. I don't have to go over it. You know it's true. Wednesday. Change Wednesday. But these people are not changing. Exactly what Adrian just finished pointing out. Okay, how are we going to do this? How are we going to save this beauty? Has anyone read Small is Beautiful? Anyone? Do you know who Schumacher is? A.F. Schumacher? An economist. But 1973, he wrote that book. If you read it today, you think you're reading a book that was written like last month. They knew about this 30, 40 years ago. What have we done since? Oh, make a bigger hotel. Oh, make more stuff. Bring more people. Make more money. Trash the beach. You know about Bali, right? They shut it down. Why? Why? Pollution. Yeah, pollution. It's the key drawing card for Indonesia. It's one of the premier tourist destinations. The government had to shut it down. The reef is full of plastic bags. The beach is full of syringes and garbage. And I'm not making a horrible statement about Nepal. Nepal has a chance because you haven't wrecked it yet. but you have to save it. The Amazing Race to SDG, Nepal's blockchain voyage to sustainability. I don't know, some of you might have read that in the agenda. Blockchain. I won't bore you or glaze you over by describing what blockchain is, because some of you might know, and the rest of you, it's too complicated to explain in a short period of time. But just understand this. You're going to be using it, and you don't even know it. But it's going to change the world. It is changing the world right now. President Xi Jinping of China has already said in his speeches, he mentions blockchain amongst the innovations that is going to move China into the 21st century. So how can tourism be part of the solution? Because evidently, this is a tourism conference. We want to be part of the solution and also make money and also show off our beautiful land. Of course we do. But we can't do it unsustainably. We've got to do it. The places that are already wrecked, wreck them less. The places that aren't wrecked yet, protect them. And I have a plan. So respect. Act like a guest in someone's home. All of us Westerners are all guests. I'm from Canada, by the way. We're all guests. We are guests of you. We are your guests. We should not do things in your home that we would not do in our own home, including respecting. Technology transfer. We need to solve local sustainable development goals. There's not one solution that fits everything. The Sustainable Development Goals, eliminate poverty, hunger, and so on, they're all pretty much needed to be you need to see the local situation, what the resources are, and how to apply them, and how to change mostly people's behavior. We need to fund the local NGOs in what I call a customized economy. Remember I said before about begging? We got to stop begging the big corporations to let us help the earth survive. We've got to stop doing that. We've got to tell the big corporations, look, you have a license from society to sell us whatever you're selling us. You behave, we'll continue to buy from you. You don't behave, we will stop buying anything that has your brand on it, like that packet of chewing tobacco. Now that company's making a lot of money. I can see it because I see the packets in all the little shops and people going and buying those things all the time for whatever reason. I won't get into that. That's another problem. But that company should be liable. It's their product. It's their packaging. That product, they should be liable for it polluting Rara Lake. Fund local people with UBI, UBP. I won't go into detail about this, but just know, and you're welcome to talk to me afterward, universal basic income and universal basic pension. Adrian, again, you made such a good presentation, I have to refer to it all the time. You talk about you came here at pension, giving the pensions, I guess, to the Gurkha. We need to develop a system which is independent of governments. A system of supporting people who do good things for other people, who promote a sustainable world, who give up some of their greed and give some of their heart and their resources and share with others. So we have to create this, and I have a plan for that too, and you're welcome to talk about it later. Okay, so again, many of the speakers talked about certification, training, and so on, travel, training. Well, we have maybe some of you have heard of the Amazing Race. Well, we have a sort of an amazing race, except it's completely geared towards solving these goals and having a great and important time. One of the races is SDG to Everest. Now, it's not what you think. It's not how fast you can get up Everest or how much stuff you can bring up there and throw around. No. It's if you're even allowed to go there. You have to earn your way in the world. What, you get a university degree because you want one and you have a whole bunch of money? Of course not. You don't. You earn it. You work at it. You create relationships in the world where people like what you're doing and they want to help you because you're, in effect, helping them live in a better world. So we need to attract the attention of the world. This is why some of these charity guys and so on go up to the top of Everest. You know, support this charity, support this charity. We need to attract the top of the world attention to the urgency of the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. This is urgent. 2050, 2030 is not very far, 12 years away. How are we doing? Nothing. Not much. So last year we were on Everest. We brought the banner up. We talked about the SDGs. We tried to talk to communities and see how they're doing, what their waste management problems are, what their poverty problems are, what their even hunger problems, even food problems. See what they are. I'm certainly happy to talk to people about this later on. But I just show you the pictures to show you that this is real. We're really doing this. Here's Western Nepal. Now, I've just fallen in love with Western Nepal. I was in love with these sort of Khumbu, but now it's shifted. My attraction has shifted. Now it's Karnali. Because look, here, and that's, I think you're pointing out, this is the Speaker of the House here. This is, this gentleman's the Speaker of the Karnali Parliament. So, you know, people have received this information. That's the first woman mayor of a city, Jumla. In the picture over there. Okay, so you can see it's a beautiful place. What I'm trying to encourage people to think in terms of is forget classical economics. Forget it. Forget classical economics. It's not doing what the planet needs. These special economic zones are creating more pollution, and they're increasing trade and the GDP, but who is that serving? So we have to begin to create special eco-environmental zones. These are zones which we need to protect the earth. We want to visit it too, but we need to protect it from those who would make pollution. And we need to educate. It's not just the tourists coming in. We need to educate local people. Education. You were talking about this so eloquently, and I'm sorry I can't repeat all the good things you said, but it's recorded, so you will be credited for it. We need to educate people and certify that they understand what their obligation is to society. It's not rights. It's not rights. It's obligation. You're a human being on this planet. You're obliged to make the place work. It's not for you. It's not for you. It's for everybody. And it's not just for humans. It's the rest of us, too. I'm not a human, obviously. Okay, so universal meaningful education. This is in Topla. This is in near Mugu in Karnali. And you can see, you know, we're talking to kids about the SDGs and trying to get something going. And caring currency, you see that up in the corner there. That's what I'll talk about in a moment. Besides the Race to SDG, which is a program, what I'm trying to promote to people is this idea of Change Wednesday. Every Wednesday is the day of change. Smile, change, and unplug. Do these three things. Smile, make other people happy. Change something about yourself because you can't change other people. And unplug the things around your home that you're not using, obviously, and only plug in what you need. And also, for 3 hours every Wednesday night, turn this off and talk to your family and your friends face to face. Right? Every Wednesday. Hey, who knows? If you're a good person, you might end up doing it on Thursday and Friday and Saturday. But at least Wednesday. That's your obligation to yourself and to your family. Do it for them. Check it out, changewednesday.com. Okay, so, I think I went the wrong way. Okay. So, I live in China, Canadian, but live in China, strange. So, community, Change Wednesday, we have these little get-togethers. I hope you endeavor to do this in Nepal, too. You don't have to do it with a big group. You just do it with your family. You do it with your friends. Just change your behavior one time a week. Call it Sustainability Day. Call it whatever you want. But effect change in your own heart. And the unplugging, right? We call it de-zombification, okay? Stop being a zombie for 3 hours and start being a human. Start interacting. Play basketball with your friends or eat together or just sit down and chat. You don't have to do anything special. Just be. Just be with your friends. So how are we going to do this? We're going to start earning social credit, decentralized social credit. Has anyone heard of social credit? This concept? One person, two people? Okay, very few people have heard about it, and that's okay. But the people who have heard about it have usually heard about it in a kind of a negative sense. They've heard about it in China. They've heard the social credit system of BAT, Baidu, Alibaba, Tencent. They've heard about that manipulation system, which is all based on economics. That social credit system is basically finding out what your WeChat and what you're doing with Alipay and so on. So it's an attempt, and it's not terrible, but it's not complete, because it's not about you, and it's not about your behavior towards society. It's about your shopping habits. So what we're proposing, and we actually started to do this, is creating a decentralized, this is where the blockchain comes in. The blockchain is a decentralized, distributed, autonomous system of accounting. You can see the game of the sustainability game of Race to SDG is based on an idea of these tokens that are on a blockchain. So don't think of them in terms of a real coin. Just think of them in terms of a credit. Think of them in terms of something that offers you a way that you can earn something and you can show off that you've earned something. So the reason I put all these words up here is I talk about SDG influencers. There are bloggers in the audience. Bloggers have influence. What I'm proposing to you today is that the bloggers become the first participants in this Race to SDG game, and they themselves blog what they're doing in Nepal to be part of the solution, to exchange information between the communities and the visitors about how those communities are solving the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. It's a game, right? They're racing, they're picking questions, they're answering questions, and so on. So there's a game element to it. It's fun. People want to win. But the object is get people talking about it. Get them realizing what the deficiencies are in their own communities and then solving them themselves. Possibly with some help from the outsiders, but not really. It's like the Sherpa in the Khumbu region. You know, they're mostly looking after themselves because nobody's looking after them. So that's true throughout the world. It's not just Nepal. This is the truth around the world. Okay, so visit the SDG-friendly place. You get a token. You share it. You reward other people that are also doing good, and you earn caring currency, and you go further. The idea being that there's access levels. This is what we need to do, if you agree, in Nepal. It's been mentioned a number of times. They just haven't used this specific plan. We need to protect certain areas. I mean protective. It doesn't matter how much money you have to go up Everest. It shouldn't matter. It should matter if you've earned the privilege of stepping on Nepali soil and going up and enjoying that beauty. So commonly accessible tourist areas, of course, you know, many places, Kathmandu itself, lots of people can come here. The impact of another 500,000 people is not that much. But in a protected national park and sensitive community, it makes a difference. If you have people tramping in there and picking the flowers and kicking the dogs and doing all this stuff, you have a problem. You like their money, but you're destroying your resource. You're destroying your product. This Adrian, again, he's saying he doesn't want to go back to Everest because it's not what it was. And the last one, I very clearly use the word exclusive. Exclusive. Like rich people talk about, oh, I want to go to an exclusive hotel. I want to have exclusive stuff. There's a reason for that. Because people who are wealthy don't want to be common. They don't want to be identified as, that they're only allowed to go to the places where everybody else is allowed. They want to feel that they're allowed to go places that other people aren't allowed to go, like Bhutan. Does anyone know the country of Bhutan? Of course you do. How much does it cost to go to Bhutan? $265 a day. How many backpackers in Nepal can do that? 0. So the Bhutan model cannot work here. It's okay, it's a good model for Bhutan, but actually it's not that good. I'll talk to you privately later if you're interested about why it's not even a good thing for overall for Bhutan. But for Nepal, no, it won't work. So for Nepal, we need to have a different barrier. It's not money. It's social effort. It's social credit. It's whether you have worked your way up and behaved yourself and you've gotten to the level where you are competent enough to be part of the solution and you are allowed to enter this beautiful Rara Lake or whatever community. And you see here, this is our wallet on a cell phone, and you see here's the SDG token. So this gives you an idea of the kind of technology that we can do. It's the same thing as making a selfie. All right? I won't talk much about this, but this is about buying local. You know, that's another element. We have to stop always buying, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and KFC, providing that to people when in fact there are local rhododendron drinks and local food and so on, and honey that should be purchased from the local people, because that increases the economy and the sustainability of that local economy. So I can talk to anybody that's interested about that in the first. Okay, blog. I've attempted, I'm not a very good blogger. I've attempted at, using the social medias and so on, but I need your help. Really, this project needs the bloggers' help, because you're the experts in how do you get the message out about this fun game that's going to earn people around the world social credit and make them part of the solution in the Republic of Conscience. Caring currency, that's one of our hashtags. Try it. Race to SDG, another possible hashtag. Again, I need your help with this. I'm not the expert in it. SDG challenge. SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, challenge. This can spread from Nepal. We have to start it in Nepal. It can spread around the world. Sustain. Sustain. Just a short SUST-10. Sustain. Sustainability. I won't go over this. I mean, anyone who's interested can read this up there. I'm sure I'm over time. These summits, the case studies, much of this is already documented. We were shortlisted by UNICEF to build this blockchain donation platform, so we hope maybe we'll be supported. But even if we're not, it doesn't matter. We're still going ahead. And a lot of these case studies were done for that. The case study number 2 is about the problem of uneducated tourists and locals. I hope you can help us create these certification programs and teaching people around the world how to come to Nepal and be part of the solution. There's the 17 goals. Pogo, 1972, talking about pollution. It's now 2018. We need to get going. We need to fund those NGOs. We need to take action. Smile, change, unplug. Use our Wednesday Smile, Change, Unplug. I had my Sustaining Clause picture on before. That's what we've done around the world, Paris, France, and everywhere else. The SDGs, this is our mission. This should be every child's mission. We need to make it fun. We need to make it part of their curriculum. We need to make it meaningful to them. And finally, of course, well, we talked about Change Wednesday already, but that's the idea of society, environment, economy in balance. We need to balance. Economy is not the only thing. The money mind is not the only thing that we have to do. So Smile and Change Wednesday, change and get social credit, and unplug and race to the SDGs. And here we go. So thank you very much. That's my presentation. I hope you join SDG, the Panda, LCP, the Low Carbon Panda, and maybe just as a final thing, would you honor me by taking a picture? Can I take a picture of you guys? And give us three fingers as a sustainability symbol. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, SDG. Should we do the same chant? Photo guys, turn that around and look at the people. We don't need to look at me. SDG, 1, 2, 3. You gotta beat them, come on. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Really appreciate it. 谢谢。